I'm Assunta Mendonca Sandhir and I teach political science. So today we are going to study the preamble of the Indian Constitution, also known as the philosophy of the Indian. In order to understand the preamble, we need to identify the role of the preamble. So to get clarity on the role, what exactly is expected from the preamble? So the preamble, it is expected to embody firstly the fundamental values and philosophy on which the Constitution is based. Secondly, it reflects the aims and objectives that the Indian polity needs to strive for and achieve. For example, if we see the preamble, we see the Constitution is, we have a mention of the fundamental rights, we have a mention of the directive principles of state policy, the fundamental duties, reflecting that the fundamental rights need to be protected, they cannot be violated. Then there are certain directives given to the government, as such the directive principles of state policy, and as an obligation of the citizens towards the nation are fundamental duties. So the preamble is understood to be an introductory note to the Constitution. Now, to understand the preamble of the Constitution further, we must read through the following of the Constitution. So it begins, the preamble begins with we the people of India having solemnly resolved to give ourselves the Constitution, and especially when we are talking about having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a secular, sovereign, socialist, democratic republic, securing to all its citizens justice. It should be social, economic and political justice, liberty of thought, expression, worship, belief, equality of status and opportunity, fraternity in terms of dignity of the individual, unity and integrity. So the Constituent Assembly, the closing lines of the preamble are as such: the Constituent Assembly has adopted, enacted and given ourselves the Constitution on 26 November 1949. Now, to make sense of the entire preamble, we need to understand, according to Dr. B.L. Fadia, very clearly he mentions that there are some essential ingredients in the preamble. So we are categorizing it into four columns in terms of, the first question that we need to address is, what is the source of the Constitution? So the first source of the Constitution is that, if you see the opening lines of the preamble, we the people of India. So the opening lines and the closing lines are very much reflecting that the source of the entire Constitution is dependent on the people, we the people of India. The second is, what type of government is desired for the country? Now, when we talk about what type of government, we are referring to a sovereign government, a secular government, a democratic government, a republic form of government, and a socialist government. So when we talk about sovereignty, sovereign government reflecting that we are talking more in terms of its external factor, that we are independent and we cannot succumb to international pressure when we are drafting our foreign policy. It could even mean, from the second point of view, sovereign, that people are sovereign, meaning that people have the power to decide who should be in government. Then when we talk about secular, the word secular, India does not have an official religion. As such, you are free to practice your faith. Then we talk about a socialist government. What type of government? Again, socialist. Socialist in terms of providing social justice, economic justice, political justice, no discrimination, treating everyone equally. Then we also talk about a democratic kind of government. What type? When we say democratic type of government, we are referring to the government of the people, by the people and for the people. So people are involved, the sovereign power being the people are involved in making this democracy successful. Then we talk about republic, meaning head of state is elected. Coming to the third ingredient, objectives of the political system. When we talk about objectives of the political system, the first objective of any political system would be that of, we are talking about justice in terms of social justice, political justice, economic justice. When we talk about liberty, we are talking in terms of positive liberty and negative liberty. Now, when we talk about positive liberty, we are enjoying our freedom to develop ourselves. But at the same time, negative liberty does not mean that it is bad for us. Negative liberty simply means that we are being restricted There is, we are being restricted by rules and regulations. For example, I have the right to live. Positive liberty, my freedom to live. But at the same time, my freedom to live does not mean that I have the right to kill. As such, I am governed by a law that becomes restrictive, and I need to abide by rules and regulations. As such, if I engage in killing somebody, I would be punished under the law. So positive and negative liberty. Then we talk about equality, equality of status and opportunity. And when we talk of equality of status and opportunity, we are probably referring to no discrimination. So everyone being treated equally. And the final one is fraternity. When we talk about fraternity, we are talking in terms of securing individual dignity. Apart from, and knowing that our country is very diverse, we need to ensure unity, at the same time integrity. Then coming to the fourth ingredient of the source of the constitution, the essential ingredients of the constitution, date of adoption. We adopted the preamble, the constitution, on 26 November 1949, but it actually came into play, it came into force only on 26 Jan 1950.
You can conclude now.
So in order to ensure that our democracy is very successful, we need to protect and guide our constitution, not just for the present generation but also for the future generations.